So what excites you about what HazardCo is doing?
It literally can save your life. When we see up to 30 fatalities a year in the building industry in Australia, that's just not good enough.
Craig is the general manager of HazardCo. He is on a relentless mission to revolutionize the construction industry, protecting the person at the top of the ladder and scaling businesses. Today, he reveals the brutal reality of scaling a team, the fatal cost of complacency, and the ultimate leadership playbook.
Safety is not always the most exciting area. Important, yes. Exciting, sometimes no.
No tradie really wants to do health and safety, let's be honest. And they often ask, how's health and safety going to make me money?
It's one of the hardest things to do. You grow a business quickly, you add a lot of people.
You certainly spread yourself thin if you try and do everything.
Some people will grow with you, but most people will grow to the point of their incompetence.
If someone comes in and has nowhere to go, you're putting a glass ceiling on them, right?
Nobody
Absolutely.
wants to be each other's best worst option.
Those people just need to go off and do the job that you hired them to do.
How do you sort of think about that?
I think the key thing when it comes to people is always have
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Builders Ladder podcast. I'm joined here today by Craig. How you doing, dude?
very well. It's a beautiful day in Queensland, so happy to be here.
Well, happy to have you here, man. Do you mind giving us a little bit of a background? Who are you, where are you from, and what do you do?
Sure. So I am the GM of HazardCo Australia. So I look after all things commercial. That is, a team out there growing the HazardCo brand and really trying to lift the health and safety level within the construction industry, and by doing that, protect the person at the top of the ladder is really our ethos. So I've been with the business 3 years or so. I came into the business to develop what we call our merchant strategy and how we partner with the likes of Mitre 10, Reece, Dulux, to really support them in supporting their members. So Reece is a good example of that. We're fully integrated with the Reece team and the Reece Business Services team, and they actually sell HazardCo on behalf of us. So
Nice.
I've been in the construction industry about 14 years. So I've worked for the likes of BlueScope, Colorbond, James Hardy, Laminex, had a short stint with Simmons Homes, and just like the idea of what HazardCo were doing.
Yeah.
Really supporting small to medium and slightly larger builders in really lifting the bar when it comes to health and safety.
Yes, so good. So when you talk, you said something before, protect the person at the top of the ladder. I presume
Yeah.
you're meaning like genuinely the person on site on the ladder, but are you also talking about the PCBU, like the business owner, presumably? Because shit goes wrong and that's ultimately the person that's responsible often.
That's exactly right. So, it is a literal meaning and
Yeah.
a figurative meaning. So health and safety has far wider ripples than just, the person who's involved in an incident. There are communities, there are families, there is businesses at stake. And we've seen a lot of that go pear-shaped, unfortunately, over the last few years. So for us, really our number one goal is to support builders in looking after them and anyone that is a stakeholder within that business.
Nice. So varied history, and you said, you enjoy and you appreciate what HazardCo's doing for the industry and stuff, but what excites you about HazardCo? Because at the risk of telling you that your baby's ugly, HazardCo, health and safety is not always the most exciting area. Important, yes. Exciting, sometimes no. So what excites you about what HazardCo's doing and where you're taking the business and
Yeah.
that sort of stuff?
So safety is not sexy at all.
Yeah.
So, I go to a large number of events and I go speak, and I got to get really passionate about it because otherwise it can come across quite mundane. And often when I speak, I don't speak to the actual legislation and the specifics around it. Well, a lot of what we do is talking about safety leadership within the industry. So we can talk a bit about that later. But what I love about HazardCo is that it was actually started by two tradies.
Yeah.
So a couple of tradies in New Zealand thought this whole "she'll be right, mate" thing is not good enough. So they kicked off HazardCo way back then. So this was, it was 18 years ago. So way back then, we used to send out a health and safety pack. It was paper to builders and go, here's your pack. You've got your health and safety sorted now. And it wasn't really till COVID that there was this shift towards digital, and obviously with QR codes and scanning in and the like, and the construction industry, propping up what was going on, really needed to shift to that. And that's kind of around when we became a digital product, and we've been fine-tuning and working on that since then. So really giving builders and trades the tools to look after their health and safety. But what's unique about HazardCo and why I love it is because it's not just an app. You don't just go, here's an app. Good luck, Mr. Builder. You did, 1 hour of health and safety every 3 months when you studied whatever trade you were going to do.
Yeah.
Good luck filling out all this. No, so HazardCo supports their trades and their members by having guided content that is kept up to date by our on-site health and safety team. And members have the ability to actually engage with our health and safety team as part of their membership on a day-to-day basis, which is very different to some of the other competitors out there or other apps out there where they just give you an app and they go, good luck, you can fill out a swims on there, and, we're not going to tell you how to do it. We're not going to show you how to do it. You just use your app. Whereas all our content is guided. So we don't expect the trade to know everything about health and safety, the exact legislation. We guide them through that. And that's what I love about it. So I think we're really moving towards lifting the bar within the industry versus, providing just a basic technical tool to try and make their life easier. No, we actually want to shift the whole mindset of the industry to more of a safety-led mindset versus not just a technology-led mindset, the combination of the two.
Yeah. So, is safety leadership just showing up like any other leadership? Like, what are we talking about? What do you mean by safety leadership?
Yeah, it's the whole. So the New Zealand rugby team around sweeping the sheds, that sort of thing. I think it's the same. It applies across the board. Doesn't matter whether you're in safety, corporate. It's leading from the front. So we find the best engagement across building sites is where the owner, the GM, the senior stakeholders within that business are going onto a site and using the tools that are provided to them to ensure that that site is safe. Walking the walk, talking the talk. Site supervisors doing the same thing. No tradie really wants to do health and safety, let's be honest. But I think there's a narrative behind it, which is far more greater than it's just a little tick the box or admin task that you got to do. It literally can save your life.
Yeah.
And, when we see up to 30 fatalities a year in the building industry in Australia, that's just not good enough. So we're trying to have a bit of a movement, around safety leadership and ensuring that we, as a whole industry, we lift the bar. And that's not just builders. It's not just us. It's not other safety providers. It's suppliers. It's merchants. It's everyone, because everyone can be affected by it.
Nice. So, it's super interesting that just up until, I suppose 2019 or COVID-ish area, you were mainly not an online app. Did COVID really accelerate that? Obviously it accelerated that transition, but did it also accelerate the business? Did you have a lot of uptick, and did a lot of the growth come over since that period, or have you been growing steadily over the last 18 years? What does it sort of look like?
Yeah, so I wasn't around when it actually kicked off in Australia, but it was 5 years ago in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember a few people said, they got employed and then it went into lockdown.
True.
Now, so you can think now you're a health and safety provider in the construction industry, and all of a sudden the whole country goes into lockdown. Not only do you have the staff challenges of people going, is my job safe? But then you got to pivot really quickly to understand what the market actually needs and what's going to be of value to your membership base
Mm-hmm.
with the challenges, the constant change in legislation, the constant change in day to day. Are we locked down? Are we not locked down? What does lockdown mean? What's required now? And every state was different. And obviously we operate across not only 3 countries, but particularly in Australia, a number of different states that all have slightly different legislation and have different
What's
rules.
the third country? New Zealand, Australia,
UK. So we're in
UK.
the UK. Yeah, we
Nice.
actually launched in the UK in November last year.
Yeah, awesome.
So, that provided a heap of challenge for us. New office, didn't get to use the new office because everyone had to work from home.
Yeah.
How do we ship things to building sites? So we got through that, and for the past sort of 3 to 4 years, we've been accelerating at a fairly rapid pace because we've seen that there's a need in that small to medium market for a health and safety manager in your back pocket.
Yeah.
The legislation is clear; it's there. You have mandatory requirements. How do we work with our customers to give them the tools to meet those requirements in the easiest possible way, where they don't have to go and study health and safety for the next 4 years, and they can just focus on building a house or doing the electrics, the plumbing, whatever that is. So it was fun times, and some of our earliest customers were the GJ's Gardener Group, and that really helped. It's a strong brand, and we've grown from there. We've got close to 3,000 builder customers now in Australia. We've got probably 13,000 customers across Australia and New Zealand, and we're pushing on 300 in the UK now. So
nice.
There's certainly a need. We keep refining the product to ensure that there's this constant feedback loop of, we refine it, we go to the market, we understand, does that fit, does it work? Yep, back, refine it, and we just constantly work within this feedback loop to ensure that we're giving the market what they need to meet those requirements.
There's some awesome growth. Like, how do you get most of your customers or your members? Like, you said that you came on as a bit more of like the merchant strategy sort of thing, and now you're the main man, the big boss, calls the shots and stuff. Is it still merchant strategy, or do you do referrals? Is it like, paid ads? Like, how does it?
Yeah, we've got a multifaceted approach. So we've got salespeople within the business that are there meeting with customers in market, meeting with builders, either face to face or via Zoom, and doing demos and taking them through the product. We've got a strong marketing team, which obviously has our digital inbound leads coming in, which we have an inside team to catch and support. We've got Keenan, who supports our partners and our partnerships, and our partnerships are wide ranging, from the likes of the Professional Builder to the Housing Industry Association, to Master Builders, a few of the other associations. So that's wide reaching, and we utilize those networks to support those member bases with OH&S sessions, or just demos and the tools to manage their health and safety. Then we've got the merchant side, so we partner with the likes of Reece, Mitre 10, Dulux to support their customer base. And then there's just your usual cold outreach.
Nice.
Drive past, there's a ute with a sign on it. I'll just give that guy a ring, see what he's doing.
Nice. Yeah.
Some of the guys love just turning up on sites, obviously inducting themselves first, but turning up on site and just having a chat to builders who don't have a HazardCo site board.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
And then and in the back end, we've got this really robust customer service, customer success team that's there to support that customer base, and that includes customer service representatives, and then our health and safety team as well.
Sure. It's funny, we were just in sunny coast, and I was down in the airport and then driving back up to Noosa, and took the coast cruised up, hour drive sort of thing, took my time, stopped for a swim. The number of building sites that I drove past was just off the charts. And I'm thinking, I should just have exactly what you're talking about. I should just have a little door hanger, copy of Marty's book, something else that I can give these people that, and then start a conversation because, like, they're all people that we want to be working with as well. And, it's so true. Like, just go and meet them where they're at. It would have been super productive sort of morning for me. But
Yeah, I mean, we get super excited when we see HazardCo site boards
in the
out in the
wild.
wild.
Yeah.
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 But then
Do
we
you
get
guys
more
do you have like
excited.
an internal channel of like, HazardCo in the wild sort of thing? Like we've got an internal like health and fitness channel of like the
Yeah,
team doing like pull-ups and going for runs and stuff. I feel like you should have a spotted in the wild sort of
I think we
sideboards.
used to, but we've grown now that there's a fair chunk of projects out there. So
Yeah.
we are more excited when there's not a hazard board,
Yeah,
HazardCo
sure.
hazard board. Yeah, because
That's
then
a
that's an opportunity, right? So
That's a cool flex. I like that. I love
yeah,
that. So what's you talked about like having to change the product to meet the market where it's going and things like that. What does that look like moving forward? Like what are you guys like focusing on? Because like we're going into planning time for our business at the moment. And the way that we
yeah,
think about stuff is like show me your wallet, show me your calendar of where you're going to make investments in the business. And really each department can probably only make two or three bets, two or three, like you enter the year with 52 chips that you can place in
yeah,
places. And, where are you going to place your chips? What bets are you going to make? For us, in the last 12 months, we've made two big bets. One was events. So we went from like two events a year to we've finished 2025 having done 35 events. And the second one was content. So building a lot better creative machine for all of our paid advertising, and then a lot better, same creative machine, but for, podcasts, YouTube, social organic, and recording these events and publishing the recordings and like all of that sort of stuff. And we're going to double down on those two bets next year as well. But what are the bets that HazardCo are making? Like, what's on your guys' radar and what are you moving towards?
yeah. I mean, the digital thing is something that we're looking at. We've just recently done a lot more in Meta, which has been good for us. So I don't know the exact ins and outs of that. I stay a bit high level, but I understand that's been great. So we've certainly tried to optimize our spend within that digital space because I think at one point, we weren't seeing the growth in inbound as the growth in spend was going. So we found this happy medium now, which is great. Next year, our challenge is how do we grow our brand further? And you talk about events. We do so many events. Like we've got 2 or 3 events a week that we will get to, and we find that great.
Yeah. How do you
Particularly when we
staff
have
and how
so
do you
many.
roster that? Like, because we're looking at the number of events that we could do next year, and I'm just like, how the fuck do we staff and roster that? Like, people
Yeah,
are out of the office every single day, and they got their
yeah.
business as usual stuff. Like, do you share the load? Do you have like dedicated people? How does it work?
We do share the load. We do have people in each state,
Yeah.
so in an ideal world, the guys in New South Wales can attend the New South Wales events. And then myself and Keenan are normally the ones that chip in along the way. We get often Vanessa, who's head of CS. She'll jump in, depending on what the requirement is. There's a fair bit of travel involved, so we do fly around a fair bit. So that's really just, and also not just doing everything. We really prioritize where we look at what we've done in the past, where we get the most return on investment, and we prioritize those. And then anything else is cream on top if we get to do it. The other thing is how do we grow our brand within maybe the medium to large type of builder space.
Yeah,
We've
sure.
always been really popular within the SME space because we are that health and safety in your back pocket. But we've got some really large builders that some do well over 200 a year.
Sure.
We've got a couple of insurance builders that do I think it's 3,000 jobs a year, and we can support that range. But often we're pigeonholed into into the SME space. And yes, we love it. We do it really well, but we also can support these other larger builders. Our system's capable of doing 1 to 1,000 builds a year. So, how can we start moving into that space? Because I find that really interesting, as particularly in certain states, WA, South Australia, where, close to 50% of the homes are built by the volume builders. And then the percentage share of homes that are built in the other states by volume builders is growing. So it's obviously something we need to be across. The other thing is also looking at the type of customer that we're chasing. Who is the right customer for us? When a business starts, I'll take them, I'll take them, I'll take them, I'll have you as well. Sure, no worries. But as we've refined the business and set some new targets for the next sort of 3 to 5 years, we need to focus on the sustainability of our revenue pipeline moving forward. And really the way to do that is to partner with builders and trades that are serious about health and safety, and that they do want to shift the market with us. Yes, we can help someone who does 1 build a year and just needs that one thing. We can support that, but they will most likely churn at some point. And how does that affect us in the long run as a business?
Totally.
Right? So that's something we gotta look at. And then, there's some exciting stuff happening. I can't go into it too much, but we are launching new product lines in the coming months. There will be new packages for your smaller builders, and then we've really revamped our enterprise level offering to that bigger market to really support them. So I'm excited for that. And then we've actually added in more value into that mid-tier to those members. So we've packed in a whole bunch of value, like work health safety training. There's access to buying groups and things like that. So we're really packing in a lot into that mid-tier space, but then, ensuring that we don't leave the little guy at the top of the ladder or the person at the top of the ladder, that one person, but while trying to support the bigger end of town as well.
So good. As you've gone to more of a software solution, you can apply so many different features to the software. How have you decided what ones to include and what ones to exclude? I presume it goes back to who your ICP or ideal customer profile is that you actually want to keep on for longer. But how do you sort of think about that, or guide the development team, or how do they make decisions?
First question is, who do you want to support, and then how do you want to support them?
Sure.
I think you lose, maybe, I don't know, credibility is the right word, but you certainly spread yourself too thin if you try and do everything. We have a really strong product that services residential builders for specifically health and safety. We're not job management. We don't do anything else outside of health and safety. So for us, that's been our niche. So we get a lot of ideas. We can, our CX team speaking to a customer. Yeah, I'd love it if I could do X, Y, Z. Yeah, all right. Well, okay. Well, we take every idea, and every idea that we get is logged. And then that gets prioritized based on, firstly, does it meet our strategy? 2, is it possible? And 3, how long is it going to take?
Nice.
And what's it cost? So, we tend to focus on how we support our core customer to create sustainable revenue through long-term relationships, and being able to do that in the easiest form through our app. So, we've got a long tenure of customers who really love HazardCo. And then we've got some who, may have needed this quirky little piece over here, and that's the only thing they were looking for. And they've tried it and they've gone, I just wanted just that thing. And then, they've gone, that's not right for me, even though, maybe it had nothing to do with the actual legislation.
Totally. Yeah. Well,
one of the things
you can't be something for everybody.
Exactly.
Nothing for no one, so
one of the things which came up a heap for us was customers wanted their logo on the documents, the output documents. And it got raised without fail, like,
Weekly.
all the time, just
Yeah.
constant. And, you look at it and you go, come on, guys, like, that's how hard is that to do? But actually, when you speak to the dev team and the head of and the product team, it's not as easy as just going, let's just switch that feature on, done. There's a whole lot that goes with that, So, happy to say we've actually released that feature now, but
Nice. Took
but
6.5 years to do, sort of thing.
it took us a little while. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. We're the same. So we use a similar filtering mechanism. We work with our members on that sometimes as well. It's called an ICE filter. So I is impact, and normally for at least our members, that's impact on gross margin. For ourselves, it's normally impact on the metric that we're trying to improve. So because we're like a recurring subscription model, similar to yourself, you can forecast the business quite predictably based on price, churn, and new members. So normally impact for us is on one of those three metrics, and impact for our members is on gross margin. So I, impact. C is conviction, certainty, or confidence. Like, will this work, and will it have that impact? And then the last one is E, ease of execution. So some things are like a stroke of the pen decision. It's like, oh, we need to upgrade that contract, or we need to, hire that person or whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah, sign it off, let's get it done. And then some are 6-month exercises, like we're going to rebuild the damn website and put logos on every single document. And actually, it's not ease of execution being a 5-minute task. It's like a 5-month task sort of thing. And we then rank that out of 10 for each one and get a score out of 30. And then you can filter based on the score out of 30 and see which ones are going to have the highest ICE score sort of thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I might steal that, actually.
Well, I'll add it to the invoice. That's cool. Nice. So I'm keen to just like really quickly kind of unpack your career and your journey and some of the lessons and insights that you've seen, like growing a company and working as the position that you're in. Like, what are some of the challenges that you've had as HazardCo has scaled and grown? Like, what's been some of the scar tissue that you've gotten mixed up in?
Yeah, it's not always smooth sailing, as you know. And I've been in the business 3 years. I think those first 2 or 3 were interesting. Our structure and our go-to-market strategy has changed a fair bit in the 5 years, specifically for our sales team. I think when we first started, we had, probably had, I don't know, 11, 12 people out on the road in utes and, driving everywhere here and there.
Yeah.
That's a big injection of capital to get that to work. And if you don't have the growth, at a rate to cover that, then that becomes a challenge. We fine-tuned that, we brought that in. So, up until probably a year and a half ago, we had a number of salespeople in the business, and it was all predominantly inbound.
Yep.
And then when I came on to develop our merchant strategy and our partnerships with the likes of Reese and Mitre 10, we went to almost a hybrid where it was inside sales looks after anything digital and partnership, and then our outbound looks after, our cold outreach and merchant partnerships within the market. And we found that balance has worked really well. We're going through a slight change again now where we're about to... you just go through this evolution, right? And you just tweak the structure as you go. And I think if you don't do that, that's when you have issues, is because then it all of a sudden becomes reactive versus a proactive approach to moving with the market.
Yeah.
So we've done well to move with the market. We've flexed and contracted the business as we've needed to along the way. And we're about to set ourselves up for a bit of a slightly different go-to-market strategy come the new financial year, which ours is April. Particularly in Australia, where we see most of our growth coming from in the short term. We've got a really good brand in New Zealand, like a extremely good brand. It's like it's kind of like when you refer to steel roofing, you just refer to it as ColourBond, whether it is or it isn't, right?
Yeah.
In New Zealand, it's the same. You want to get your health and safety set up. So I just need to get my HazardCo set up.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Well, it's a New Zealand, founders and stuff, and like, as long as I've been working with TVB and been here for, a little over a decade now, and HazardCo's the crew that's always been there, sort of thing,
yeah,
most
yeah, and we're
consistent.
not quite there in Oz. We're growing at a great rate, but there's
Yeah,
lots of opportunity. Oz has gone through some challenges in the past couple of years. It has been flat. We are going through a housing shortage, but I see the HIA released their economic outlook this morning, and it is looking a bit brighter over the
yeah,
next couple of years, particularly in Queensland, South Australia, and WA. I think Vic and New South Wales still have some challenges. So, having that market knowledge as well, how do we use that to flex and contract our go-to-market strategy where we need to,
yeah.
and how does that direct our resource in market?
Nice. It's interesting. Like a lot of stuff that you're talking about there resonates because our leadership team have been going through some similar stuff. We've doubled and doubled again. And what we have found is the best analogy that I've worked through with our team on is have you watched Welcome to Wrexham?
Yeah,
Like that TV show? Yeah.
yeah, love it.
Yeah. Nice. So like they've gone from Division 5 to Division 4, 3, 2, and they're working
Three P.
towards the
Yeah,
Premier League, right? And
yeah,
they at different stages had to get rid of some people and bring other people in. Often not because they were actually doing a bad job, but because they didn't have the experiences or the expertise to compete at that higher level. So they get rid
yeah,
of some defenders and had to bring other defenders in, even though these defenders got them promoted. Then they had to get rid of their strikers because the strikers weren't actually to a championship caliber, and they brought those strikers in. And then they got rid of their manager that had brought them from 5, 4, 3, 2. But then they brought in a manager from like Inter Milan or somewhere like that that had the experience to compete at that highest level. And it's the
yeah,
same sort of thing. Not everybody is going to be on the journey with you from startup to scale up to success to significance. You're going to need different people with different skill sets, and some people will grow with you, but most people will grow to the point of their incompetence and be required. And your job as a leader is to put them in the right seat, and sometimes that right seat is with somebody else, because nobody wants to
absolutely.
be each other's best worst option, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
I think one thing I can certainly say about HazardCo is the culture is outstanding, and that's, I think, a tribute to that senior leadership team and how they've given people the autonomy to just run their show. You put faith and trust in that person, you bring them on,
yeah,
faith and trust in that person to do what they do best, and that normally generates the results. I think where we've had to pivot really quickly is we've brought people on, and there's a lot of hand holding.
yeah,
And in certain roles, yes, you can handhold for a period of time, but at some point, those people just need to go off and do the job that you hired them to do.
yeah,
Um, we have a super robust onboarding process, and you can see very quickly in those 2 weeks where the level is, not only from a capability point of view, but how they actually fit in the culture. If you could interview someone 10 times and maybe 2 or 3 of those times you could put them in the office for a day to do some work, that would give you a better indication. But for the most part, we hire people after maybe not even meeting them face to face, but seeing them maybe 3 times,
hmm
doing some reference checks. And what is a reference check these days? I don't even know. So we've made some uninformed decisions
yeah,
this past 12 months. But you got to have the ability to move really quickly and pivot on those ones. And I think the key thing when it comes to people is always have a substitute bench.
yes. Oh,
Always have people you are talking to, resources, capability, with the ability to fill gaps. And the other thing I would say is one thing we've done is we've provided succession planning within our business.
hmm
Because if someone comes in and has nowhere to go, you're putting a glass ceiling on them, right? But we've put in levels within the business that allows us to bring in fresh faces and fresh ideas, but also retain our really top talent so that they can grow through the business and have a good tenure. But I
man,
think the key thing is, always be hiring, even if you're not putting pen to paper,
yeah.
at least having those conversations.
Having that bench gives you so much confidence that like I can have these exit conversations or important necessary conversations with the team because I'm not feeling like I'm handcuffed to them. There's option A, option B, option C on the bench over here, and we need to do what's best for the business, and we've got a deep bench of applicants. So I couldn't agree more, particularly as you're
Yeah,
like growing fast and moving quickly. Like, and most people that are listening to this will be like probably catalog themselves as like aggressive entrepreneurs that want to grow, be the best, grow a great team, culture, business.
yeah,
That's one of the biggest unlocks, having a great crew or inbound flow of potential applicants for hires. So good.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How you said about your 2 week onboarding and then like your career progression, do you have like somebody that's like head of people and performance, or do you like how do you oversee that? Is that just like HR team or
No, I think what's key to that is I reckon by the time you've gone through the 2 weeks, you've almost met every person in the business.
yeah, right.
And it's not to a point where you,
How many people in the company in HazardCo?
I think we're touching on 70 odd.
Yeah,
I think we ensure that as a leadership team, we all take responsibility of the onboarding process.
yeah.
So it's not left to one person, it's not left to human resources. The leadership team take responsibility across the various functions.
Hmm.
So, and they will have touch points in almost every function as they go.
Yeah.
We have this thing also called donut chats, which is we use Slack as our communication tool. And when you come into the business, you get assigned donut chats. And donut chats is something that Slack just does automatically. It just sets up a meeting for you and another person in the business, and it's all non-work related chat. And it just automatically falls into your calendar at a free time between two random people. So that that continues. Like you can do that for the rest of your career. Some people once they've gone through everyone and they just opt out of it, but particularly if you work in the same office as that person,
Yeah.
I I just caught up and had a coffee with that guy. I don't really need to have that donut chat, but I find that was probably the best thing for me when I came on board is having those donut chats. Particularly now we grow globally as a business, being able to understand what people do in their relevant roles, but also just who they are as a person.
Ah, that's gold. I'm gonna research that because we're struggling with, it's one of like the hardest things to do. You grow a business quickly, you add a lot of people, and it becomes very siloed when you got 1/3 in an office, 2/3 remote, and you're like, what are they doing? What's this department doing? And then it's easy for calendars to get clogged up, and then across multiple time zones, it's chaotic. So I love the idea of donut chat. Like a walking meeting is what we often lean into, but
Yeah,
same, but different. We do an
yeah,
internal podcast as well, where we interview the whole team. Marty and I have time where we do, stuff around culture, and we do a weekly MVP that translates into a monthly leaderboard, and then the winner gets, like a dinner for two or a weekend away and things like that, a little bit of celebration. It's normally reflective against our values that we want to be seen, want to have demonstrated through the business. But yeah, donut chat. That's a right idea.
yeah, yeah. And then the other thing we do is we get everyone together quarterly. So we've got a few people that work remote. I'm one of them that works remotely full time. There's probably 5 or 6 of us that work remotely in the Australian team, and we get everyone together quarterly for a quarterly event, which is normally an activity, a team building activity, dinner, and then we do an awards night, and the awards are aligned to our values. Apart from the Blunder Baron, which is more just you know, we just have to take the mickey out of someone who's absolutely
Sure.
blundered during that quarter, which I absolutely love. So yeah, we try and do that as often as we can. And I always say to the team, like, if I had the office close by, I reckon I'd be in there every day. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't. So I'm lucky enough to get down there probably monthly. I would do it more if I could.
Yeah. Nice. So good, man. I'm curious. You've got the UK,
Yep.
really hard time zone for us to service, and kind of one of the reasons that we've stayed out of the UK a little bit more. Why did you choose the UK over, say, like the US? Is it like the the legal and all the compliance piece, or is it something different?
Yeah, it's pretty similar in terms of the compliance piece and the regulations. So that was one of the reasons because it's centralized. It's not like everyone's going to the States at the moment, which yes, you've got 350 million people there, and
So you got
they build
50,
you
50 different state compliances.
exactly, everyone's different. So you'd almost have to just go to Texas and just do Texas. And there's probably enough work just in Texas, but
Yeah.
then every tech business is just so focused over there. I think the UK was very attractive from a growth point of view. We already had some partnerships and some interest from over there already with some of our franchise partners
Sure.
here in Australia. So it kind of was the logical next step for us. And supporting them from New Zealand is okay on the time zone.
Yeah.
You're slightly closer the other way. Australia's a little bit different. I mean, I'm in Brisbane. Head office is in Australian head office is in Melbourne. We've got then New Zealand head office in Wellington. Then we've got someone over in Perth, and then we've got the UK. So
Sure.
as a business to manage people, yeah, it's interesting. So
Yeah. It's
but then
funny.
again,
We also use Slack, and I've typed into the main general channel a few times and gone tag all, and then hit enter, and it goes, "Are you sure?" Because you're about to send a message to like 12 different time zones or something stupid like
yeah,
that. Like,
yeah,
oh fuck.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So I think and in early stage, as we grow the UK business, you kind of just do what you need to do
Yeah.
to get that off the ground. So we've had meetings at 7, 8 o'clock at night, and 4 a.m. in the morning, and that's
Mhm.
just kind of what you do. As they build their own team and process, they probably will need less support as you go.
Mhm.
But it's a year in, and the senior leadership team, and then everyone on the back end in Australia and New Zealand has done a fantastic job to support those guys over there.
Yeah. Awesome. Amazing. Well, Craig, we've covered a lot. Is there anything that you think we haven't touched on that's worth unpacking for people?
I just think, and you guys would see this a lot, is having builders and trades see digital systems as enablers to their business
Yeah.
rather than tick the boxes. I think people look at like health and safety and they go, oh, like, how's that going to help me apart from keep work safe off my ass? But, how can you see having a digitized health and safety process as a growth enabler
Mm-hmm.
to allow you to do other things that are more priority than
Mm-hmm.
spending 3 hours a day
Yeah.
filling out paperwork around health and safety? How can you empower your sites
Yeah.
to have a digital systems and processes in place to allow you to work on the business rather than in the business? So
Mm-hmm.
having that mindset to move away from, admin as a tick the box to, how do you optimize your business to allow you to grow it? And some people don't want to grow the business and they're happy with the way it is. But, for the most part, we speak to people who want to grow, want to get bigger. And they often ask, how's health and safety going to make me money? It's just there to potentially stop me from losing money in the long run. And it can help you. That in combination with great coaching, other systems, other processes. Like I'm a very big process
Yep.
driven person. So for me, it makes sense. But for traders who went to learn how to do that trade, not necessarily how to run a business, I think having support from us, yourselves, job management, see that as enablers for growth, not just things to tick the box.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Like the biggest variable with almost any project and the business is kind of the efficiency of everyone's time, everyone's labor. And if we can trim that 3 hours down to 30 minutes, an hour, even in at 2.5 hours, like that's a saving that you get to redeploy against growing the business or making more money. So like the question of, how will it make me money? Well, it's kind of it's two-pronged, right? It's going to protect your downside and it's going to give you more opportunity to maximize your upside. And then that's up to you, but that's stacking the systems on top of each other and also just like bringing the business into 2027 and beyond. Like, it's competitive. If
Yeah.
you're not growing, you're dying. Like that's one of our core values. So you got to be improving. Even if you're stagnating, like the market's growing, so
Yeah.
you are probably dying.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice. Awesome. Well,
Awesome.
Craig, where can people find you? What should they do? What should they go and check out? Can they stalk you on the Insta Snaps? What do
Look, HazardCo's on all of those.
Yeah.
We're on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, but really our website is probably the best place. You can find out a fair bit in there. There's our blog, which is really helpful. There's support there. We've got a great support service, not only through our team but online. So Q&As around health and safety. You can jump on. You can do a free trial. You can trial the product.
Nice.
Play before you buy, or
Yeah.
and otherwise just give us a call. There's a 1-800 number there. The team are brilliant. So if you've got any questions, just reach out and they'll just point you in the right direction.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Craig. Appreciate you. And I'm sure everybody listening along's got some good value. I know I did. I'm going to implement the donut chat. So
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.